Chenapekshate na Gurudev Kripa Bindudiya. Chenapekshate na Jodyata Vichare Kichu nahi pai Tomara karuna sara Jodyata Vichare Kichu nahi pai Tomara karuna sara Karuna na hoile kadiya 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 Karuna na hoile kadiya 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 Prana naraki boara Prana naraki boara Tomara karuna sara Tomara Sara Gurudev Kripa Bindudiya Koro e Dasi Chenapekshate hina Gurudev Kripa Bindudiya Koro e Dasi Chenapekshate hina Sakala sahane Baladiya koro Nijamane sprihahina Sakala sahane Baladiya Nijamane sprihahina Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudev Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Vaishnava. Good.
He's there now. He's coming from our ashram. I told Gore, but I don't know. Does anyone want to sing for Vaishnav? Sure. Okay.
Okay, you flipped to a nice page. I'll just stick to the page you had me on. Page 44? Yeah, I don't need the mic stand. Ebara karuna koro Vaishnava Goshai Ebara karuna koro Goshai Patita Pavana Toma Bineke Hona Gadahara nikate gele Papa dure jai. He mona dayala Prabhu ke bakhota pai. Gangara parasha haile pashate paban. Darshane pavitra karo e tomara gun. Darshane pavitra karo e tomara gun. Darshane pavitra e tomara gun. E bara karuna karo Vaishnava Gosha Bara Karuna Karo Vaishnava Gosha Patita Povana Toma Bine Kehona Haristane aparadhe Tare Harinam Haristane aparadhe Tomastane aparadhe Nahi koedan Tomara hridoye shada Govinda Vishram Tomara hridoye shada Govinda Vishram Govinda kahena mama Vaishnava paran O Govinda kahena mama Vaishnava paran Kahena Mama Vaishnava para O bara karuna karo Vaishnava Gosha Jai Vaishnav Thakur, oh hey Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jai Vaishnav Thakur. Prati janme kori asha, charane raduli. Naro tame koro daya apanara boli. Narottama karo daya apnara boli. Jayo Vaishnava Thakur, Jayo Vaishnava Thakur, Vaishnava Thakur, Jayo Vaishnava Thakur. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Jaya Jaya Gadadhara Pandita Gosai. Jaya Jaya Gadadhara Pandita Gosai. Jada Kripa Bale Se Chaitanya Gunagan. Jada Kripa Bhavesa Chaitanya Nigan. Heno Se Gauranga Chandre Jahara Piriti. Heno Se Gauranga Chandre Jahara Piriti. Gadadhara Prananata Jahe Lage Kyati. Gadadhara Prananata Jahe Lage Kyati. Gauragata Prana Prema Ke Bujite Pare. Gana Prema Bujite Pa Chechavasa Krishna Seva Jadalagi Chare. Chechavasa Krishna Seva Jadalagi Chare. Gadayera Goranga Gorangir Gadadha Gadayera Goranga Goradadara Shri Rama Janaki Jeno Eka Kalevara Jeno Eka Prana Radha Vrindavana Chandra Teno Goda Gadadara Premera Taranga Kahe Shivananda Pau Jara Anurage Kahe Shivananda Shamatanu Goranga Hoya Prema Mage Shamatanu Jaya Jaya Gadadhara Pandita Gosai Pandita Gosai Jara Kripa Bale Se Chaitanya Gunagai Jaya Gadadha Jaya Gadadha Jaya Gadadha Jaya Gadadha Jaya Pandita Jaya Gadadha Gadadha Jaya Gadadha Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Gaura Haribo Nitya Gaura Haribo 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 Nitya Gaura Haribo Shri Gadadhar Pandit Gosai Ki Jai. All glories to Sri Gadadhar Pandit. By the strength of his mercy, one can sing about the qualities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His love for the moonlight Gauranga is such that Gauranga is celebrated as Gadadhar Prananath, the Lord of Gadadhar's life. Who can understand the prema of he whose heart is one with Gauranga, for whom he gave up his Chetchavas, his vow to forever stay in the holy town of Puri, and his seva to Sri Krishna at Tota Gopinath. Gauranga is Gadadhar's, and Gadadhar is Gauranga's. Just as Sri Ram and Janaki, Sita Devi, are one body, just as Sri Radha and Sri Vrindavan Chandra are one in heart, waves of prema flow between Gaur and Gadadhar. Shivananda says, it is by his anurag, that is, Sri Radha's deep attachment, that Sham Tanu, dark-complexioned Krishna, has now become the golden Sri Gauranga and is begging for that prema. Shri Gadadhar Pandit Ki Jai.
The next one is up here. Thanks. If you have the purple book, this book is on page 294.
This is sung in the same meter as Radha Kripa Kataksha. So if you know that one, you can do this one. Is this on? Okay. Maybe we can do this one together instead of call and response because it's longer. Okay. Swabhakti yoga lasinam sada vraje viharinam hari priya ganagragam sachi sutta priyeshwaram Sarada Krishna Sevana Prakashaka Mahashayam Bhajamyaham Gadadaram Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Navojvaladi Bhavana Vidana Karma Paragam Vichitra Gaura Bhakti Sindhuraga Bhagalasinam Suraga Marga Darshakam Vrajadivasadayakam Pajamyaham Gadadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Sachi Sutta Grisara Bhakti Vrindavandya Gauravam Gaura Bhava Chita Padma Madhya Krishna Valabham Mukunda Gaura Rupinam Swabhava Dharma Dayakam Pajamyaham Gadadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Nikunja Sevanadika Prakasanaika Karanam Sada Sakhirati Pradam Maharasa Swarupakam Sada Shritagri Pankajam Sariri Sadgurum Varam Pajamyaham Gadadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Mahaprabhor Maharasa Prakasananguram Priyam Sada Maharasankura Prakashana Divasanam Mahaprabhu Vrajaganadi Bhava Modakarakam Pajamyaham Gadadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Vijenda Vrindavandya Padayugma Bhakti Vardakam Nije Suradikatmata Vapu Prakashanagraham Ashesha Bhakti Shastra Shiksha Yojvalamrita Prabham Pajamyaham Supadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Muda Nija Priyadika Swapada Padma Sindhubir Maharasarnavamrita Pradeshta Gaura Bhaktidam Sada Sattvikanvitam Nijesta Bhakti Dayakam Bhajamyaham Gadadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Yadi Yariti Raga Raga Bhaga Digda Manaso Naropiyati Turnameva Narya Bhava Bhajanam Tamujvalakta Chittametu Chittamata Chatpado Pajamyaham Gadadharam Supanditam Gurum Prabhum Maharasamrita Pradam Sada Gadadharashtakam Pate tuya subhakti do Rajagana ganotsavam Sachitanuja pada padma bhakti ratna yogyatam Labeta radhika gadadhara gripadma sevai Jaya Gadadhara, Jaya Gadadhara, Jaya Gadadhara, Jaya Gadadhara. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gadai Gaur, Hari Bol. Gaura Gadadhar, Gaura Gadadhar, Jaya Gaura Gadadhar, Jaya Gaura Gadadhar, Jaya Gaura Gadadhar, Jaya Gaura Gadadhar. Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga. Translation? Okay. I worship the greatly learned and exalted spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, who appears very splendid, engaged in the Lord's devotional service. He always performs pastimes in Vraj, where he is very prominent amongst the gopis, who are very dear to Lord Hari. Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachi, is the dear Lord of Gadadhar Prabhu, who is preaching the service of Radha and Krishna. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. He is expertly absorbed in meditation on the 9 rasas of devotional service, beginning with Ujjwal Ras, conjugal love. And he dances in the waves of the amazing ocean of devotional service to Lord Chaitanya. He preaches the path of Raghunuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional service, and he is a fit person to attain residence in the transcendental land of Vraj. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, the best of those who are devoted to the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachi Devi. Offer respectful obeisances to him and treat him with great importance, and he is very dear to Lord Krishna, who is seated in the middle of the lotus flower, which is his heart. Assuming his golden form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he preaches that Lord Mukunda has assumed the golden form of Lord Chaitanya, and he returns the living entities to their constitutional position as servants of the Lord. I worship the greatly learned and exalted spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. It is only because of him that the truth of the exalted devotional service performed by the intimate associates of Krishna in the forest and groves of Vrindavan has been revealed. He is preaching the ecstatic love attained by the gopis, and he is indeed a personification of the mellows of devotional service. The saintly devotees take shelter of his lotus feet, and he teaches the truth of spiritual life to the living entities. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu. He is very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it is as if he had sprouted from the manifestation of the Lord's ecstatic love. He is always adorned with the garments of ecstatic love of Godhead, and he delights Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by arousing in the Lord the ecstatic emotional love experienced by the gopis of Vraj. Okay. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, who expands the mellows of devotional service and whose lotus feet are worshipped by the kings of the Brahmanas. Among his confidential associates, he reveals his actual form as Srrmati Radharani. He distributes the nectar of the ecstatic mellow of the gopis' conjugal love, strictly following the instructions of all the devotional scriptures. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, With great delight, he is giving the devotional service of Lord Chaitanya, which reveals the nectarian ocean of the most exalted mellows of devotional service, along with the nectar flowing from the lotus feet of the gopis, headed by Srrmati Radharani, who is most dear to Krishna. Gadadhar Prabhu is decorated with the 8 transcendental ecstatic symptoms of Sattvika Bhav, and he is distributing devotional service to his worshipful Lord Krishna. I worship the greatly learned spiritual master, Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, even the conditioned soul whose mind becomes anointed by the colorful waves of spontaneous devotional service as delineated by Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, quickly attains the highest level of devotional service. He becomes like a maddened bumblebee whose mind is anointed with the mellow of Ujjwal Ras, conjugal love. These 8 verses, glorifying Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, distribute the nectar of the most exalted mellow of devotional service, and they are like a festival for the gopis of Vraj. If one regularly reads these verses and serves the lotus feet of Srila Gadadhar Prabhu, who is an incarnation of Srimati Radharani, then he will become qualified to attain the jewel of pure devotional service for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya, the son of Sachi Devi. Srila Gadadhar Prabhu ki.
Yeah. Jai Gadadhar Pandit Gosai ki Jai Gauda Gadadhar ki Jai. Kabe aha Gauranga boliya Kabe aha Gauranga boliya Kabe aha Gauranga boliya Kabe aha Gauranga boliya Bojana Shayane Dera Jatana Chadibo Birakta Hoya Bojana Shayane Dera Jatana Chadibo Birakta Hoya Kabeya Gauranga boliya Navadvipadame Nagare Nagare Abhimana Parihari Navadvipadame Nagare Nagare Abhimana Parihari Adama Basi Gare Madhukari Labo Ramabasi Rane Dama Basi Gare Madhukari Labo Kaibo Darabori Kaibo Darabori Nadi Tate Giya Anjali Anjali Pibo Prabhupada Jala Nadi Tate Giya Taru tale podi alasya tajibo tale podi Taru tale podi alasya tajibo Paibo sharira bala Pibo Prabhupada Jala Kabeya Goranga Boliya Kabeya Goranga Boli Kakuti Koriya Gora Gadadhara Shirada Madhava Nama Kakuti Koriya Madhavana Kakuti Koriya Gora Gadadhara Shirada Madhavana Kakuti Koriya Kadiya Kadiya Daki Uchara Be Kadiya 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 Daki Uchara Be Brahmi Bosa Kala Dhamma Brahmi Bosa Kala Dhamma Kadiya Kadiya Brahmi Bosa Kala Dhamma Vaishnava Dekiya Podi Becharane Hridaye Bandura Jani Vaishnava Dekiya Podi Becharane Hridaye Bandhu Jan Vaishnava Dekiya Podi Becharane Hridaye Bandhu Jani Vaishnava Vaishnava Thakura Prabhura Kirtana Vaishnava Thakura Vaishnava Thakura Prabhura Kirtana Tana Dekai Beda Shamani Dekai Beda Shamani Vaishnava Thakura Prabhura Kirtane Dekai Beda Shamani Dekai Beda Shamani Kabeya Goranga Jaya Gaura Gadahara, Jaya Gaura Gadahara, Gaura Gadahara, Jaya Gaura Gadahara, Jaya Gaura Gadahara, Gaura Gadahara, Gaura Gadahara, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Jaya Gadai Gauranga, Gadai Gauranga. Gadai Gauranga Jaya Prabhu He 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. When as I cry Gauranga, will I relinquish eating, sleeping, and other such bodily endeavors, being completely detached from them? At that time, having abandoned my false ego, I shall wander from town to town in Sri Navadvip Dham, performing madhukari at the homes of the Dhamvasis, and thus eat to the full satisfaction of my belly. Going to the bank of Ganga, I shall drink, palmful by palmful, the sacred water that has washed the lotus feet of the Lord. Lying under the shade of a tree, I shall relieve my fatigue and restore strength to my body. Loudly calling out, Gaura Gadadhar, Shri Radha Madhav, in entreaty and bitterly weeping, I shall wander throughout the entire Dham. Seeing a Vaishnav, I shall fall at his lotus feet, knowing him to be the true friend of my heart. Accepting me as his servant, that venerable Vaishnav will cause me to behold the kirtan performances of Mahaprabhu. It says at the bottom, Madhukari is foodstuffs begged from home to home by a renunciate in the manner that a honeybee, Madhukar, gathers honey by going from flower to flower. Go to Premanand.
Yeah. Sing Radha Krishna Pranamora? Yes. Page 1 to 3. Yes. Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora Jivane marane gati Aranahi mora marane gati Aranahi mora Jivane marane gati Aranahi mora Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora Kalindira Kule Keli Kadambera Vana Kalindira Kule Keli Kadambera Vana Ratana Vedira Upar Boshabodu Jana Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora Radha Krishna Pranamora Jugala Kishora শ্যামগৌরী অঙ্গে দেব ছোঁয়া চন্দনের গন্ধা শ্যামগৌরী অঙ্গে দেব ছোঁয়া চন্দনের গন্ধা চমরা ধুলাব কবে হেরিব মুখ চন্দ্রা রাধা কৃষ্ণ প্রাণ মোরা যুগল কিশোরা গথিয়া মালা তীর মালা দেব দহর গালে গথিয়া মালা তীর মালা দেব দহর গালে अधरे तुलिया दिब कर्पूरा तंबूले राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा ललिता विशाखायारी जत सखी वृंदा ललिता विशाखायारी जत सखी वृंदा अज्ञया करिब सेवा चरणारविंदा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासरानुदासा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासरानुदासा सेवाभिलाषा करे नरतमदासा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा राधा जीवने मरणे गति अर नाही मोरा जीवने मरणे गति अर नाही मोरा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोरा जुगल किशोर जय नरोत्तमा ठाकुर नरोत्तमा नरोत्तमा ठाकुर नरोत्तमा ठाकुर नरोत्तमा ठाकुर नरोत्तमा नरोत्तमा ठाकुर नरोत्तमा जय राधे जय कृष्ण जय राधे जय कृष्ण Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. I'm Taruni. Taruni. Yes.
Tarani Devi Dasi, Ragalekha Devi Dasi, Radhakanta Das.
Taruni Devi Dasi.
How long are you staying here?
For a week we are here.
I hope you'll grace us every day with your presence. They're the fortunate disciples of Srila Bhaktivedanta Van Maharaj, all the way from Holland. Agyanam timirandasya Gyananjana salakaya Chaksurunmilitam yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tvodalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Nama Yang Pravrajantam Manupetam Apeta Krityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Banedos Tang Sarvabhutaridayam Muni Manatosmi Bhaktya Vahina Aparada Lakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadye Kripamayi Tvang Sharanam Prapadyam Vrinde Namaste Sharanarvindam Tavaivasmi Najivami Tam Vina Te Tam Nayamam Charanantike Kripayati Yadi Radha Badita Shesha Badha Kima Paravashishtam Pushti Maryadayorme Ivadati Chakinchit Smera Sodita Srir Vijavaramani Panktya Mukti Shaktya Tada Shama Sundara Sekanda Shekhara Smera Samurali Manohara Radhika Rasikamam Kripanite Swapriya Charana Kinkari Kuru Prananatha Vrishabhanu Nandini Srimakabja Rasalola Satapada Radhika Padatale Kritastitim Tambajami Rasikendra Shekhar Samvidaya Dashane Trinam Bibo Prardaye Brajamahendra Nandan Astu Mohan Tavati Balava Janma Janmari Madhiswari Priya. If Sri Radha is merciful to me, then unlimited obstacles to my devotion will be removed. There will be nothing superior for me to attain, because I will have received the excellence offered by the paths of both Vaidhi and Rag. And if she speaks something while smiling gently, thereby revealing the brilliance of the rows of her beautiful pearl-like teeth, what significance will the oyster of liberation have? O Shyamasundar, O you whose head is adorned with peacock feathers, whose face is graced with a laughing smile, whose Murali flute enchants the mind, and who is most expert in relishing ras with Srrmati Radhika. O ocean of mercy, please make me a kinkari, or maidservant, at the feet of your beloved. You are the Lord of the life of the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and you are like a bee, always eager to taste the nectar of her lotus-like face. O Rasikendra Shekhar, foremost of those who are Rasik, who are situated At the feet of Srrmati Radhika, I worship you. O son of the king of Braj, O all-pervading one, O Mohan, who enchants the minds of all, taking a piece of straw in my teeth, I pray that your supremely beloved Sri Radha be my dear worshipful goddess, birth after birth. First I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astota Sat Shri Shriman, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astota Sat Shri Shrimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj. To our most worshipful grandfather gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj and Sri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. To all of his divine associates, what are you doing on the phone? To all his divine associates, and the thing is, it's distracting. To all his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees, and to the assembled devotees. Dr. Pandey is a teacher, he knows. And to all the assembled devotees, and to the assembled devotees, Diksha Gurus, who are my Shiksha Gurus, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Madhav Maharaj, Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Ban Maharaj, and Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. Before I begin, I want to invite my senior godbrother, Gaur Krishna Prabhu, to come up and sit here. He's a very senior disciple of Srila Gurudev. He was living with us for a few years back when we were in Hollywood, our first Miami temple. He was known as a combination of the temple scholar and the temple comedian, as you'll see when you hear him speak. So we're going to share this class about Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Haridas Prabhu, while you're there, can you get the Panchatattva that's on the wall? So, the Lord appears as the 5 in 1 absolute truth. The personality of Godhead, his incarnation as a devotee, his devotional expansion, his devotional energy, and his pure devotee. Namely, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar Pandit, and Srivas Thakur. Is there any place we could keep this so that he doesn't have to have it on his lap? We can just put it against the altar or something. Okay. All right, so Gadadhar Pandit, it's very complex, because turning to Srila Bhakti Ballabh Goswami Maharaj's book, Sri Chaitanya and his associates, he begins the description of Gadadhar Pandit, the tattva or philosophical truth of Gadadhar Pandit, by quoting Gaura Ganadesha Deepika, which explains who in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes is who in Krishna's pastimes. So he explains, the incarnation of love, who was previously the queen of Vrindavan, Radha, is now the beloved of Gaur, named Srila Gadadhar Pandit. Swarup Damodar himself, who is the most intimate associate of Mahaprabhu, has indicated that Gadadhar was Braja's, Vrindavan's, goddess of fortune, the supreme Lakshmi, Sri Radha, who was previously the beloved of Shyamasundar in Vrindavan. This is a little bit misleading. Misleading because of the word previously. We live in the mundane world, and we have no choice but to use mundane language. So when our acharyas say previously, or the book says previously, it doesn't mean previously, because it's eternal. Krishna's pastimes are eternal, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are eternal. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has a dark complexion, because although he's replete with all the rasas, all the humors, all the relationships, like neutral, servitorship, friendship, parental, and conjugal, at the same time, he has no qualities, meaning no material qualities. Whereas, because dark means the absence of color. Whereas Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is golden, has all qualities, means all spiritual qualities. So that doesn't mean that Krishna doesn't have spiritual qualities and Mahaprabhu does. Because it said, although replete with all relationships, that means all the qualities, the beauty, the mercy, the love between all the any possible relationship that it's possible to have. Where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, golden, so all the colors are there, he has all spiritual qualities. Why does it say that? It says that because just to make some variety. But he doesn't have all the relationships. Means you can't have a relationship with Mahaprabhu as a beloved, because that would be called Garanga Nagari, or Sahajiism, that Mahaprabhu is the male and I am his beloved gopi. As mother, we can't become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mother. He only has one mother. Das we can become. And if we have a relationship as Das and follow his instructions, then when we become very advanced, then we see him as Radha Krishna. So Srrmati Radhika is the highest emblem of conjugal mellows. She's Krishna's principal beloved. All other beloved gopis are innumerable. Billions, millions, innumerable, uncountable. Gopis are all of her expansions. And in order to serve, and her nature in Vrindavan is a left-wing gopi, very feisty, contrary, no. Don't come near me, I'm a chaste wife, and all those kind of pastimes. So, for Mahaprabhu, why did Krishna come as Mahaprabhu? What were the reasons? What were the 3 reasons? Or 4 reasons? Gaur?
The 4 or the 3?
Both.
After Krishna completed his pastimes of doing so many wonderful things, he saw inside himself, he's like, you know what? I've tasted so many rasas, tasted so many things, but I saw that my love came to a certain level, and I saw that Radhika's love far surpassed mine. I want to know, what is the glories of that love? How far does it go? And then also I noticed the way that Radhika looks at me and the quality she sees in me, only she can see it that way. So I want to know, what are the qualities that she relishes in me? And what does it feel like to experience that love? So these were some internal reasons. But then he also had other reasons that were more internal and external, like satisfying the desire of Advaitacharya, to give the world rag bhakti, and also to establish the Yuga Dharma.
Now there are a lot of new people here, so if you could translate,
Yeah.
like Rag Bhakti and things like that.
Well, then maybe they'll figure it out later in life. Yeah, there's some mysteriousness here. Anyway, so Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya for some internal reasons, but externally that we can appreciate nowadays is that we're suffering in this world and we need a process to get out of this suffering condition. And so the Lord said, okay, I'll come during this age of Kali and I'll give a process. This process is known as the Yuga Dharma, or the process for this age. And this Dharma will be chanting the Lord's names, Hari Nam. So he came and he started it himself. He's like, I will show them how to chant and what they'll experience when chanting, and then the goal that will happen at the end. So the Lord came to do this for our benefit. So this is one reason. He's like, I will give the world Yuga Dharma. You'll see that people chant Hare Krishna everywhere now, not just within Gaudiya Vaishnava societies. Everyone's chanting Krishna's name because they're all learning that if I chant God's name, I will be rewarded and benefited and purified. So everyone chants Krishna's names now. But also he wanted to, those who take the chanting seriously, and we want to become more specialized, then he also showed a more specialized path called Rag, or a path of intense attachment to Krishna in some internal mood, some perfected position in the spiritual world. But I won't go into all that right now. We'll keep it short and simple. Can we continue?
Oh, all right. So as
Or else the
Gaur
class
Krishna,
will turn into that.
Huh?
Or else the class will turn into this.
yeah. So as he said, he's God. I know everything. I am everything. But there are three things that even though I'm God, I can't figure out. As he said, what is the nature of Radhika's love that drives me mad? Which is just like leaves get blown around in the wind. The wind is the dancing master of the leaves. So I'm sit down, stand up, I'm completely controlled by her love. And as he said, secondly, what is it about me that drives her mad, that I can't even experience in myself? My divine pastimes, my flute playing, my qualities, my beauty, I can't appreciate them as much as she does. She becomes so maddened. And then what is the happiness that she feels? That's 10 million times my happiness and our loving exchange. So he wanted to know those three things. But as Krishna, there are many pastimes in Krishna's array of pastimes where he tries to find out, but he's never fully successful. So finally he thought, I'll have to take her mood. That is, but I can't just take her mood. Like Lord Chaitanya is called Gadahara, which means he who steals the complexion and the mood of Sri Radhika. But this is not really true, because Radhika is his, like God has 6 opulences, all wealth, fame, knowledge, renunciation, beauty, and strength. But where does he get those 6 opulences from? Radhika is the embodiment of his 6 opulences. And one of those 6 opulences is knowledge. So she's too smart to let him get away with stealing her mood and complexion. So in Wales in 2000, Gurudev explained that he had to ask her, can I borrow them? And she said, yes, you can borrow them for a while, but I'm going to have to come and help you. I'm going to become Gadadhar Pandit. So not only that, I'm going to have to bring a couple of my Sakis, my beloved girlfriends, Lalita and Visakha. Lalita will come as Swarup Damodar, and Vishaka will come as Rai Ramananda. And you'll have to take some lessons from us. And then you'll be able to understand my mood and become overwhelmed by my complexion. So that's what happened. Gadadhar Pandit is Radhika herself. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not Krishna now as Radhika. He is trying to be Radhika, and Radhika herself comes as Gadadhar Pandit in order to help him play her role. If I play whose role? Haridas's? Is he here? I play Haridas's role. What will I have to do? Shnicky shnicky, diddy diddy, ram ram. Huh?
Put on saffron.
And put on saffron. But he'll still be there. He won't dissolve into me. He'll still be there. He said, no, I don't chant like that. I chant.
It's more like shnick, shnick, diddy, diddy, rom, rom.
So he'll correct me because he's still there. Similarly, Krishna has come with the mood and complexion of Radhika, but she still has to be there to correct him. So Gadadhar Pandit is Radhika, who came to twist the ear of Mahaprabhu, of Krishna. No, it's not quite like that. It's like that. Do you remember what happened when Mahaprabhu first came in Navadvip, when he first came back from Gaya? How Gadadhar Prabhu helped him? What was it?
When he was first experiencing Bhav,
Hmm.
and when Mahaprabhu first returned,
Mike?
Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. I don't know, man. I just got here. When Lord Chaitanya was performing his childhood pastimes, he was in a mood of being a great scholar, but like a mundane scholar. And he was teasing, harassing everyone. He's like, oh, Tirthapad, challenge me. Do something. So he would approach Gadadhar Pandit and say, oh, Gadadhar, tell me what is the definition of mukti? And Gadadhar's like, oh, no, why? Because Gadadhar Pandit was a very simple, and he was very pure-hearted, and he was very detached. And now my mic is finished.
Somebody help. Go ahead.
Tirthapad beat me that easily. And so he said, tell me what is the definition of mukti? And Gadadhar Pandit was thinking, I don't want to be in a debate. My heart is always pouring out with love for Krishna. I want to think about Krishna's qualities and his pastimes. I don't have time for it should be like this, maybe like this, maybe like this, maybe back and forth. But he said, I don't know, mukti is when all suffering has come to an end. And then Mahaprabhu said, or Nimai Pandit at the time, he said, no, this is one idea, but actually it should be like this. And he challenged more. Anyway, they went back and forth and debated. And Gadadhar Pandit was like, yes, you win. Thank you. And he wanted to kind of avoid Nimai Pandit in the beginning.
Everybody did, didn't they?
Everyone. All the Vaishnavas that had love in their hearts for the Lord, they didn't have any taste for this debate. They're like, oh, debates.
Logic.
It's so dry, so boring. Let's talk about something juicy like Krishna. Anyway, so he tried to avoid Lord Chaitanya. But when Lord Chaitanya went to Gaya to do the Shraddha ceremony for his father, and he met Ishwar Puri, anyway, he came back, and he was no longer the regular scholar Nimai Pandit. He was now Bavuka Nimai.
Why, what happened in
then?
Gaya?
He got initiated. He heard the divine Hare Krishna mantra. He surrendered to his guru, and his guru then empowered him and made him go crazy.
Who was his guru?
Ishwar Puri. We can talk about some other time. But yeah, so then he came back and he was now Bavuka Nimai. He couldn't speak properly. He had no more taste. He told his disciples, I no longer want to be your teacher. Go find some other teacher. I can't teach you these things anymore. I just want to chant Krishna, Krishna, Gopi, Gopi, Radha, Radha. He became mad. And he was so mad that he was like really losing it. People, and they even called doctors like, "What's wrong with our Nimai? Now he's like got like epilepsy and things. We don't know what's happening." And one day, he saw Gadadhar Pandit, and Gadadhar Pandit said, "You know that the Lord is in your heart." He's like, "Where? Where?" And he began ripping open his chest. And there, Gadadhar Pandit's like, "No, it's okay. You can just chant his names and you can associate with them." And Mother Sachi, Lord Chaitanya's mother, saw this. And she saw how expert Gadadhar Pandit knew how to handle Lord Chaitanya's ecstasies and moods. And so she told Gadadhar, "I want that you always stay with my Nimai. Always keep him safe. Always be with him." And so there's many more things. But yes, when Lord Chaitanya came back from Gaya, he was now a madman. And Gadadhar Pandit was able to control him and keep him safe.
What about when Lord Chaitanya, in the mood of Radha, now that has a new life and he's in the mood of Radha, he always was, but there was a point when it became manifest, when he tried to sing that verse, Gadahara Bidam Natavadavapu. Do you remember that?
When he fainted?
Well, he was...
No, Gadadhar chanted that verse when he met with
After.
With Nitai.
Well, first, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting it, and you remember the verse? Padaharapitam natavadavapu karnayo karnikaram bibradvasam kanakakapisam vajayantim chamalam randrana venuradasudayat vapurayana gopa vrindai vrindaranya swapatavanam Pravishadagita Kirti. That's when the gopis were thinking of Krishna as he was out in the forest and he was playing on his flute. The holes of his flute was taking in the nectar of his lips, and he was wearing a Vaijayanti mala, 5 kinds of garland, which went from his neck to his feet. And the cowherd boys were chanting his glories, and he was wearing a yellow flower on his ear, and he was exhibiting a lot of ecstatic symptoms, fainting, weeping, rolling, and then what happened? Gadadhar Pandit thought, he's not doing it that great. And so from behind the curtain, he himself did it because he is Radha.
Oh yeah, during the Mahab, yeah.
So he showed him. That was an example of so-called twisting the ears. What else happened in Navadvip? There was some older person who Mahaprabhu was calling out for.
Pundarik Vidyanidhi.
Yeah, what happened?
Are you going to tell that one?
No.
Oh.
I'll say something.
Okay. Didi's being merciful, and she's given me. I'll speak, and then she'll correct me. She'll pull the ear. I'll be Lord Chaitanya, and she'll be Gadadhar Pandit. She'll say, "No, Gaur, not like that. Like this." Once upon a time, Lord Chaitanya was crying out, "Oh Pundarik, oh Father, oh Vidyanidhi, where are you? Where are you?" And everyone's thinking, we know all the Vaishnavas here in Navadvip, but we never heard of Pundarik Vidyanidhi before. Who is this person? Maybe Pundarik means Krishna, because the name Pundarik means what? Pundaraksha, like the eyes like lotuses. So he's like, oh, maybe he's calling out God's name, Krishna's name. But then he said, no, it's Pundarik Vidyanidhi. There must be someone by this name. And so no one knew who it was, except for 2 people. One of them his name was Mukunda, because he came from a village where this Pundarik Vidyanidhi lived. So he knew about the greatness of Pundarik Vidyanidhi already. And Lord Chaitanya said, oh, very soon someone's going to come. He's going to be a great Vaishnav, and no one will understand who he is. No one will be able to recognize him, because he's going to come and act and look like a materialist. Meaning like he's going to look like dressed very nicely with oil in his hair and jewelry all over him. He'll have servants and gold spittoons as he's chewing on pan, all these things. So anyways, eventually Pundarik Vidyanidhi was summoned by the Lord's love, And he did come to Navadvip, and he stayed in one of his houses. He had a house in Navadvip already. And he stayed there, and no one knew that he was there at that time. And so Mukunda came to Gadadhar Pandit and said, "Oh, Gadadhar, do you want to meet a real Vaishnav, a Mahabhagavat, someone super advanced in the mellows of devotion?" And Gadadhar said, "Oh, of course, yes, I would love to meet such a person." He said, "Okay, come with me." So they went to this house of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and they came in, and they sat down. And there Pundarik Vidyanidhi was laying back on a beautiful couch with soft pillows, and it was gorgeous with brass railings and everything, and he was just sitting there. He was like eating, I don't know, grapes or something.
Beetles.
They had a whole beautiful thing filled with pond leaves, and they had servants, and they had all kind of fanning and water. They had like 3 umbrellas above his head. I mean, he had a palanquin sitting there that had all comforts in the palanquin.
Curly, oily, curly
He had
hair.
perfect curly hair with nicely oiled, and he had these armlets on, and he had like tilak and kumkum and chandan all over his face. I mean, he looked like a prince. He was like first class pukka enjoyer. He was like, yeah, they were like, wow, this guy.
What else showed that? He had a couple of mirrors, didn't he?
He had mirrors. He was looking at himself in the mirrors. Yeah, he was living it up. He was just like, oh yes. And right away, Gadadhar Pandit was like, where did you take me, Mukunda? Like this person, because Gadadhar's mood was, he had no taste for this world. He was renounced. And so this is also a play, you could say. This is his teaching. It's not that Gadadhar Pandit was confused, but in this pastime, he's thinking, Vaishnava means simple, like these brahmacharis here, simple. And those who have opulences, it's kind of, they can't really be pure Vaishnavas. But in this pastime, we'll learn that a Vaishnav, it doesn't matter if they're simple, humble Vaishnava or if they're living an extraordinary, lavish life, because Yukta Vairagya means Vairagya, means detachment. So anyways, so Gadadhar Pandit sat there and he had this doubt. And right away, Mukunda, he noticed, oh, Gadadhar's doubting, I can tell. He said, so in order to erase that doubt, he then quoted this verse. It's a whole Bhakti verse. I don't know the whole verse. But it's a verse that glorifies, you know, Putana? Putana was this demoness that came in Krishna's pastimes. And she was thinking, like, I love eating little children. Yeah, she was like...
Witch.
She was a witch. And she had smeared and taken poison on her breast. And so her whole plan was...
Kalakuta.
Yeah, this is very intense poison. And so she had it on her breast, and she could shift form. She was a shapeshifter as well. She's very powerful. She's so powerful, even Kamsa was not able to defeat her. Anyway, so she came, and she took the form of a beautiful cowherd woman. And she walked into the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda, and immediately Yashoda Devi was like, oh, here, please hold my child. And she took her child and put it on her breast, and then Krishna began to suck the milk. Because in Krishna's mind, he's thinking, oh, someone's come to give me milk. I'll accept this service. He accepted it so much that he sucked out not only the poison and the milk, but her own life. And then Putana died. Her giant form came back, this monstrous, nasty form, and she tried to
How tall was she?
She was 8 miles. Anyway, she was very big. She was like 8 miles tall. When she fell,
She fell.
she was like here to like Fort Lauderdale. No, she was like the whole I-95 was just. And so she was very powerful, but she could not pull Krishna off her breast, no matter how much she tried. This is a whole other pastime. We're kind of going off topic here. But the point is that this person, Putana, came with the desire to kill Krishna. And in all of Krishna's other incarnations, he comes and he kills demons. This is not a big deal. This is what the Lord does very easily. He can just like snap his finger, shoot his chakra. But they all get some form of liberation. But with Putana it was different. Putana came with the desire to kill Krishna, and what did Krishna do for her? He then awarded her. Like, oh, you came as my mother. You came as a nurse. I don't care if you're a demon. You came to serve me, so therefore I will promote you to the spiritual world, and you'll have a form just like a nurse, just like a mother. And so this verse is written in the Bhagavatam that's spoken by Srila Uddhava. And the verse is so powerful that when Pundarik Vidyanidhi heard this verse, like, what is the mercy of Krishna that even the demoness Putana came to kill him, he awarded her the position of a mother in the spiritual world. No other incarnation of the Lord has ever done such a thing.
Who should I take shelter of?
So who should I take shelter of? None other than Krishna. He is the most magnanimous. And so when Pundarik Vidini heard this verse, immediately love of God rose up inside of him. As we heard in this one song, these Asta Sattvik Bhavs came, and he began to tremble, and he began to roar, and tears came to his eyes, and his body turned colors, and he began to move left and right and frantic, and he knocked over all his fancy gold spittoons and all his really rich, opulent clothing. He tore it open. His hair came undone. He knocked over his couch. He knocked over everything. He fell on the ground rolling, but not just like a madman, a transcendental madman. He was tasting transcendental ecstasies. And as he rolled on the ground and he wept and he cried, "Oh, Krishna, Krishna, so merciful, where are you, where are you?" Gadadhar Pandit saw this and knew right away these are symptoms of someone in transcendental love of God. And so he knew, oh, this is a divine personality. What offense have I done by thinking that he was not? And then Pundarik Vidini then passed out for 6 hours and just laid there in total ecstasy. And during this time, Gadadhar Pandit thought, what should I do to atone for this offense? I thought he was an ordinary sense enjoyer, some super mundane person. But really, he was an advanced devotee of the Lord in a disguised form. Because sometimes when you're an advanced devotee, everyone's like, oh, please give me blessings, Prabhu. Please give me. And it becomes too much. So sometimes advanced devotees will put on like a disguise, put on a front. They're like, no, I'm just a regular person. I'm just a sense enjoyer. We have examples of this from Gorkishodas Babaji and others. So anyways, Gadadhar Pandit thought, I will take initiation from him. This is how I can atone. I want him to be my spiritual master. In fact, the reason I thought that he was bogus is because I don't have a guru. So I don't know what is right and what is wrong. I have no one to teach me in this world. This is the importance of guru. Because in this world, what do we know? I know left and I know right. I only know some stupid things. But I know nothing about transcendence. I need to approach someone who is situated in transcendence. And so Gadadhar Pandit was teaching us that in this world, it is most important to accept the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. And so then Gadadhar Pandit said, I will take initiation from Pundarik Vidinidhi. He told Mukunda. Mukunda was very happy with this. When Pundarik Vidinidhi came back to consciousness, they told him that, oh, you know what? Gadadhar his heart has been stolen by you. He wants to take initiation. Please accept him as your disciple. And Pundarik Vidinidhi said, this is the greatest thing. Very rare to have a qualified disciple like Gadadhar Pandit. I accept. And then afterwards, Gadadhar Pandit then told Lord Chaitanya, I plan to become a disciple of Pundarik Vidinidhi. Please give me your blessings. And Mahaprabhu said, yes, this is very good. On the next fortnight, then on the Dwadasi day, you can become his disciple. And then he was initiated. But who is Gadadhar Pandit? Srrmati. And who is Pundarik Vidinidhi? Her own father, Vrishabhanu Maharaj, in the spiritual world. You want to say some more?
No, that was good. But then what happened? So now they're in Navadvip. And because of the request of Mother Sachi, I want you to always be with him because I see you know how to protect him. So after that, Gadadhar Pandit was always with Mahaprabhu. When the Kazi was purified by Mahaprabhu for all of his Sankirtan activities, when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he was always with him. And when he took sannyas, he went to where? Jagannath Puri.
Mm-hmm.
And there he remained as a sannyas. He was 24 years old when he took sannyas, and Gadadhar Pandit was 23. So in Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu sat on the beach one day because Gadadhar Pandit was giving classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam. And who would come to hear? Mahaprabhu and all of his associates would come to a place called, which was adjacent to a garden of Lord Shiva, Yamesvara Lord Shiva. And there was this garden there. Tota means garden. And Mahaprabhu, why would he go to Gadadhar Pandit's classes? He's God and Gadadhar Pandit is his devotee.
Because you already said it.
I didn't.
He was going to be trained up. Because who else can explain the verses of Srimad Bhagavatam spoken by Radhika other than Radhika herself. And Mahaprabhu is trying to taste what? The moods and the love of Srimati Radharani. So who should you go to? Should you go to Lord Nityananda? Should you go to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya? You go to Radhika herself. So every day he would go and listen to Gadadhar Pandit speak the Bhagavatam. Not speak, but beautifully recite with so much mood and bhav and tears in his eyes. And he would then say these verses that only Srimati Radhika herself spoke, especially these ones in Rasa Leela and during the Rasa dance. And
Can you say one?
No.
Akshanvatam?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. After you.
Like he would explain Akshanvatam palamidam na param vidama, which means the gopis are seeing Krishna and Balaram coming with all their cows and cowherd boys into the forest. And they would say, especially Radhika, would say, the perfection of one's eyes is to see Balaram and Krishna as they come to the forest or walking through the forest with their cows and glancing lovingly at everyone. But there was a deeper meaning that only Radhika could explain, which was that when they said, Yat Rama Krishna, that means Ram is also another name of Krishna, Ramaniya, which means he's always having very joyful pastimes. So the reason they said Ram and Krishna, because they said Brajesha Sutayor, which means the sons of the king of Braj. But it doesn't only mean that, because Balaram and Krishna were both like the sons of Nanda Maharaj. But there was another king named Vrishabhanu, who Prabhu just said was Pundarik Vijayanidhi in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, and who conveniently became the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit. So, Brajesha Sutayor, and then Gurudev gets into all the Sanskrit conjunctions. Suta means son, and Suta means daughter. Sutayor. And so it really means that the perfection of the eyes is to see the son of Nanda Maharaj and the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj when they're in the forest together and they look very lovingly towards each other. This is also an explanation by, or how the maidservants of Radharani see this verse. So there are many layers of meanings which you can read about in the book Venugit. So Gadadhar Pandit explained all the depths. And then there was another verse, for example, when Radharani is speaking to the bee. Radharani is feeling separation when Krishna went to Mathura. So she's in great separation, and her Sakis are there and her maidservants are there trying to console her. And then Krishna, because he wants to taste, remember? He wants to taste all of her moods of separation and meeting. So Krishna himself comes as a bumblebee, and he starts flying around her. And he flies around her feet, thinking that it's a lotus flower, flies around her face, and she says, "Oh, bumblebee, don't come near me. Don't touch me. I know where you came from. You came from Krishna in Mathura, where he has so many beloveds who are much more opulent, and they're city girls. And so that, I see your mustaches. You know, bumblebee has those whiskers. I see your mustaches. They're saffron colored. I know how they became saffron colored. Because they were sitting on the breasts of the princesses in Mathura, and you were wearing your garland in Mathura, and you were wearing your garland, and the saffron from the breasts of the princesses got on Krishna's garland, and now he also has that on his whiskers. So go back to Mathura and you can glorify Krishna there. I don't want to have anything to do with you. And then she takes different moods. The bee flies away and then comes back, and she says, "Oh, bee, you went to Mathura and you met with Krishna." So like she's experiencing the madness of separation called Divyonmad. So Gadadhar Pandit is also explaining that. Various moods of Srimati Radhika, as Prabhu was saying, only Radhika herself can understand and explain herself.
Because then Lord Chaitanya would go back to his Gambhira, his little cave room, and then he would taste all those moods throughout the night. And he would then enter into that Divyamad and Chitrajal. These, I'm not going to break it down, but there's like these really high levels of love of God that only Srimati Radhika can taste. And so this was how she was being, Lord Chaitanya was being trained by Gadadhar Pandit how to understand and taste these moods. Then he would go back into his cave in the evenings, and then he would taste those moods, and he would go pretty much insane. And then Swarup Damodar and Ramananda Roy would stay with him, just like Lalita and Vishaka stayed with Radhika to calm her madness down. So then they would stay with Mahaprabhu to calm him down. But it wouldn't work, just like it didn't even work for Srimati Radhika. But yes, he would go every day to Tota, Yameshwar Tota, to be trained up. And that is right next to this little sand, not little, but like a big sand dune called Chatak Parvat. And one day when they were there, Mahaprabhu said, "Oh Gadadhar, I want to give you something. I want to give you my heart." And what was that? Tota Gopinath. Do you want to explain that one?
No, you can explain it.
We're taking turns.
All right, so they were sitting on the sand after one of the classes on the beach. And Mahaprabhu said, "I want to give you something that's the most dear to my life. Will you accept that?" And Gadadhar Pandit said, "Of course." Then he started moving away the sand. And then a crown came up. And then a face started coming up. And then the devotees helped him move away all the sand. So there was a beautiful big deity named Gopinath. He said, "I want you to take this deity and become the full-time pujari. And that you promise me that you'll never leave Gopinath's service." So Gadadhar Pandit was so thrilled, and he began serving Gopinath. Then, after some time, Mahaprabhu wanted to go and visit Vrindavan. So he made a few attempts, but the devotees made him stay by begging him, "No, this isn't the time, it's the rainy season, wait for that, wait for that." And finally he was really on his way to Vrindavan. Now Gadadhar Pandit was not supposed to go because he had taken a vow of Chaitra Sannyas, which means a sannyasi who vows to be only in one place for that particular service of taking care of Gopinath. So then what happened?
So then, when Mother Sachi had told Mahaprabhu, "I want you to stay in Puri and be sannyas and stay in Puri, that way I can always receive news from you." So Mahaprabhu agreed and went to Puri. But then devotees would come visit him, and Mahaprabhu would always send them back. "No, go back to Bengal. Oh, Nityananda Prabhu, go back to Bengal. Go back to Bengal." So Gadadhar Pandit was like, "I don't want Mahaprabhu to send me back to Bengal, so I'm going to take a vow called Chaitra Sannyas, which means I vow to live always in Jagannath Puri, because Mahaprabhu also was going to live always there." So this was his trick. He's thinking, I'll take a vow, so if Mahaprabhu can never send me away. And then Mahaprabhu then gave him this Gopinath deity and said, "Please take care of this. I vow to take care of this deity." These were like his two dharmas, his Dui Dharma. It was like, I'll be Chaitra Sannyas and take care of this Gopinath deity. And so when Mahaprabhu finally was able to get permission, this is actually nice if you ever read about it, about how Mahaprabhu is asking his devotees, "Can I go now to Vrindavan?" And they're like, no. Mahaprabhu's, and they always, like how Didi said, they made up so many excuses why he couldn't go. But he didn't just say, "I'm going." I mean, he kind of did, actually. We'll get to that in a second. But he was like, he asked permission. And finally said, "Yes, it's a good time to go to Vrindavan." And even the king made all arrangements so he would have a smooth passage to Vrindavan. And so all devotees kind of went with him for the first part of the trip, including Gadadhar Pandit. And Lord Chaitanya said, "No, Gadadhar, you need to stay here because you did these two vows, that you'll always remain in Puri and you'll always take care of Tota Gopinath." And then Gadadhar Pandit, he said, "My Lord, wherever you are is just like Jagannath Puri, and to hell with my vows." Now that sounds cooler in English, but actually in the Bengali it was like, "My vows can go to Rasatala," which
Hell.
is hell. But he's like, "To hell with my vows. I want to only be with you. Wherever you are is better than Puri. It is the spiritual world." And the Mahaprabhu said,
Millions of times.
then he said, "But you promised to take care of Gopinath." He said, "My Lord, just seeing your lotus feet is millions of times more beneficial than taking care of the Gopinath deity." And then Mahaprabhu was becoming upset. And he's like, "No, I don't want you coming with me." And he said, "I'm not going to go with you. I'm going myself to go see Mother Sachi. So you can't say, in fact, I'm going to walk separate. I'm going to go on my own," which is the same path that Mahaprabhu is going to take. It was his way of getting around it. He's like, "I'm going to go on my own. Now you're following me." So they were having this back and forth, and they kept going. And finally, it got to a point when they were about 100 kilometers outside of Puri. And then Mahaprabhu was like, "Listen, Gadadhar, you want to come with me. You want my association. But why? Tomorrow suk, for your happiness. But what is happening now is amara duk. You are making me unhappy. So you want to be with me for your own happiness, but in turn, you are making me unhappy. What is actually important to you? Your happiness or my happiness? It will make me happy if you were to stay and follow your Chaitra Sannyas and your service to Gopinath." And because of this, Gadadhar Pandit was defeated. He couldn't respond. Mahaprabhu's like, "I've spoken. Like this is what will please me." So Gadadhar Pandit froze and he fell unconscious. And the Mahaprabhu then was able to get away, but he was able to continue on his trip. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya then picked up Gadadhar Pandit and said, "This is the will of the Lord. This is his pastimes. We cannot understand them." But actually, there's some more deeper things in this pastime, because I'm not going to say them. So then, but yeah, so this is one story about how Gadadhar Pandit wanted to.
Wait, what was the deeper?
They're not revealed in the verses, but
They are revealed
not fully. But I'm
in
not.
Gurudev's lecture.
Yeah, so you can say them.
No, you know it.
Yeah, you're going to say it.
Will you say it?
Go ahead.
We were brother and sister in Japan in our last life. So anyway, the deeper reason, which is the same reason that Gadadhar Pandit didn't come to that Gambhira cave, it's stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that who came was 3.5 most confidential servants. That is Swarup Damodar, Rai Ramananda, and Sikhi Mahati, and Sikhi Mahati's sister. So she was not considered a half because she's a woman, but because she had some sense of opulence. She wasn't quite as fully in Madhurya as was the other three, and the other two and her brother. So, she went also. But why wasn't Gadadhar Pandit considered one of them to go there and console him like Ramananda Rai and Swarup Damodar? It was because if he would be there in those most intimate times, then Mahaprabhu, seeing Gadadhar Pandit playing Radhika, better than him, he would forget that he's supposed to play Radhika, and he would think that he's Krishna. It was the same thing when he went to Vrindavan, that if Gadadhar Pandit was there calling out Krishna, Krishna, he would forget that he's supposed to be Radha, and he would call out, "Oh Radha, oh Radha." So it's because Gadadhar Pandit actually wanted to help him to be Radha. That's why he came, to help him play her role. Yes?
Didn't he, even when Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, he was...
Louder?
Even when Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, he still was remembering that he's Krishna, just by seeing Vrindavan. Like, there's
Loud?
There's Vamshi Vadana Mahaprabhu in Radha Gopinath temple, it's Mahaprabhu playing the flute because he's remembering. And
But that's why he only stayed for 3 days, for a few days.
to leave.
Then he had to leave because that was happening. But it would have been more with Gadadhar Pandit.
1 second.
Let's see. Radhika is a left-wing gopi. All the other gopis are her expansions. All her manjaris are her expansions. But she herself was like middle between not very soft with Krishna, not completely arrogant and harsh. Like, there's no English words to describe these sentimental, ecstatic personalities and their moods. So she was a left wing. So how is it that when she became Gadadhar Pandit, she became completely submissive? Do you know one pastime about that, when she was very submissive?
Radhika?
When, as Gadadhar, Gadadhar was always very submissive, even when
You mean
Mahaprabhu would
the Vallabha Bhatt pastime?
neglect.
That one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like as Didi was saying, there's these different camps in the spiritual world between the gopis, the right wing and the left wing, the Vamya and the Dakshin. But actually, Srrmati Radhika is all. She is the most submissive and she can be the most extreme, push away. She'll do whatever service is required for Krishna's pleasure. Some gopis can't give up a certain level of their nature. They're like, oh, I can never push Krishna away. But Radhika will do anything that gives Krishna pleasure. If Krishna likes this idea of like, oh, she's pushing back, like we see in our Seva Kunj painting. Well, there's more to that. See? Like that. It brings Krishna pleasure to make the, I don't want to make too many mundane.
So isn't that shows that she's the most submissive?
She is the most submissive in that case because she's doing whatever she can to please Krishna. So in this incarnation as Gadadhar Pandit, she is most submissive because she's doing whatever is favorable for Lord Chaitanya's moods. But still, it has some characteristics. And so one time, a devotee named Vallabha Bhatt, he came and he wanted to show off some of his...
Where was this?
In Puri. He wanted to show off some of his scholarship, and he had written some commentary to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he wanted to say some of it to Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu kept saying, no, I don't want to hear it. And he'd be like, oh, okay, well, he'd come back a little later. I just want to show you this one thing I wrote. No, I don't want to hear anything you say. And he's like, oh, I can't understand. Why doesn't Mahaprabhu want to hear anything I've written? In fact, it's greater than Sridhar Swami's commentary. And that right there was disturbing Mahaprabhu. Like, how dare you think that your commentary is more greater than the original commentator, Sridhar Swami. So anyways, Mahaprabhu was...
What happens if he's against if he's against Sridhar Swami?
Then you're not coming in the bona fide.
Well, Swami means like husband, right? So if the wife doesn't follow the husband, what is she?
Unchaste.
Prostitute.
Okay.
So you're like a prostitute.
Heavy
You think you
language
have
over there.
something better.
But yeah. Yeah, so anyway, so Mahaprabhu was comparing his mood of like you're neglecting what the previous acharya, Sridhar Swami, saying. You're acting like a prostitute. You're not caring about the words of the previous acharyas. So Mahaprabhu did not want to hear what he had to say. But Vallabha Bhatt was like, no, I'm going to tell someone what I've written because it's amazing. So he then thought, oh, Gadadhar is very
Because
soft.
everybody else followed Mahaprabhu. And
Yeah, they're like, we're not hearing. Sorry, if Mahaprabhu doesn't want to hear from you, we don't want to hear from you. So then he saw Gadadhar Pandit, and
Wait,
he's
how
thinking,
did he feel?
what?
How did he feel?
Mahaprabhu?
No, Vallabha Bhatt, because everybody was.
He was
ignoring.
upset. He was very disappointed that no one wanted to hear anything he wrote and said.
Was insulted.
He was insulted. So then he thought, who can I actually hold down in one place and force to listen to me? And he's like, oh, I'll go to Gadadhar Pandit because he's so simple and soft-hearted and so pure. He won't push back. He's very dakshin. So then he went to Gadadhar Pandit. He's like, oh, Panditji, I want to tell you these commentary I wrote. And Gadadhar Pandit's like, oh, I don't really want to hear it, but he was so soft he couldn't say anything. So he's like, ugh. And so he began to hear this commentary, and he's like, ugh. And just then Mahaprabhu found out, oh, Vallabha Bhatt found someone to hear his commentary. And guess who it is? It's Gadadhar Pandit. So then Mahaprabhu put on this show of being upset with Gadadhar. And he was like, so when Gadadhar would come close, Mahaprabhu would be like, And this like dismissiveness, Gadadhar Pandit saw, and he was very saddened by it. But he never fought back. Like if Syamarani was ever like, ignore me, I'll be like, what's your problem? You know? But someone submissive to her would be like, oh, okay. Dee doesn't like me today. Okay. You know? So Gadadhar Pandit was showing this submissive nature of like, oh, Mahaprabhu's mad, I'll just retreat to myself, and I'll just wait until he's not mad at me anymore. And I won't question, I won't argue, I won't make a fuss about it.
He's the Supreme Lord.
He's the Lord. He can do whatever he wants. He can leave me broken by his embrace or not being present before me. So anyway, so he was very much being submissive in this pastime. And when Mahaprabhu, eventually, Gadadhar Pandit did approach him and was like, Prabhu, can you please forgive me for my offenses? And Mahaprabhu laughed and said, no, there is no offense. I've actually been messing with you this whole time, waiting for you to come back and be like, hey, Mahaprabhu, we're best friends. You can't be mad at me for this. I didn't want to hear this commentary, and you've been mad at me. But he's like, I was waiting, but you never came at me. You never came at me with this attitude. And so it really showed how submissive Gadadhar Pandit can be to Mahaprabhu's desires. Even though he was trying to be not submissive in the previous pastime, by trying to go with him to
Previous.
to Vrindavan, the one we just spoke.
Yeah.
The one that we had just spoken previously on this Harikatha. Anyway, so this just shows some example of his submissive nature to Mahaprabhu, that he didn't try to challenge or fight back with Mahaprabhu, even when Mahaprabhu was treating him unfairly.
So it's both. In both cases, he was submissive.
Yeah.
As Radha, very feisty, get out of my kunj. I don't want to have any relationship with you.
For Krishna's pleasure.
And this one as Gadadhar.
For Mahaprabhu's pleasure.
But what about in Goloka Vrindavan?
What about it?
Well, like the central part of Goloka Vrindavan is Krishna and the gopis. But in Vrindavan, there's a hexagonal area, and that is called Svetadweep. That is the Navadweep in Goloka Vrindavan. So how is Gadadhar there?
He just is.
In other words, is he like Radha there, or is he very submissive and humble and like that, just a very gentle?
Yeah, he's gentle and humble. He has this mood.
Eternally.
Yeah,
here
this
and
Dakshin
there.
Bhav. Dakshin means submissive, and Bhamya means like, yeah, what's the word in English? Contrary mood, submissive and contrary mood.
Well, I've heard that the fact that he was submissive proves that when Krishna took the left wing moods of Srrmati Radhika,
She became Rukmini.
she became Rukmini, her expansion.
Right, but like I previously said, Rukmini can only ever exhibit Dakshin Bhav. She never goes into the Vamya Bhav, the contrary Bhav. For example, one
Who's
time...
Rukmini?
Rukmini is Krishna's primary main wife. One time Krishna was teasing her in Dwarka. He's like, oh, Rukmini, you're such a qualified princess, and I'm just like a simple cowherd man. In fact, people don't even know what my position is. Some call me a Kshatriya, a warrior. Some call me a cowherd man. And I'm never nicely educated, and I just don't have so many good qualities. And you could have been with someone way better than me. In fact, you should be. And if you want to, you can have any husband you want.
I'll take you.
I'll take you. And so immediately Rukmini was like, what is he saying? What is he doing? Why is he talking like this? And she began to faint, and she was like, oh my gosh, he's thinking about leaving me. Instead of being like, no, you're my husband, sit down. This is happening, okay? So she became very just submissive. So this is Rukmini's nature. She doesn't ever exhibit another mood. But Srrmati Radhika, in Srrmati Radhika, she can be contrary, but she can also be submissive. And I forgot we're talking about this now. Oh,
What's
when,
the proof that he's
so when,
not?
just because Mahaprabhu said, oh, please give me your golden complexion and your moods, doesn't mean that Radhika then lost those things. Just like in the verse, Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishate. Something that is complete and some part is taken from it will still remain complete, as well as that part. And even though so many complete things come from it, it will always remain the complete whole. So just because Radhika gave her mood, or let Krishna borrow her mood and her color, that doesn't mean that she ever lost it. She always will retain it. She didn't become Rukmini. And just because she desires, as Gadadhara Pandit, to exhibit only Dakshin Bhav, or submissive mood, that doesn't mean if she really wanted to, she could probably exhibit another, or he could. But she only wants to do what is pleasing for Krishna. And that's the main point, is that who pleases Krishna the most? Srrmati Radhika. And why does she please him the most? Because she knows what Krishna wants. She knows how to please him the best. She is the topmost lover of Krishna. Well,
Good. So her love was like that of Rukmini. It's stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. But that doesn't mean that Radhika became Rukmini. And it also says that there's another devotee named Jagadananda Pandit, and he was quite feisty with Mahaprabhu in Puri, because he didn't like the fact that Mahaprabhu was so renounced that he wouldn't even accept a little cotton on his
bed.
Not bed, but
On the floor.
you could call it a bed, but it was a straw mattress.
Yeah.
He wanted to put a little cotton on it, and Mahaprabhu refused, and he became so angry.
And then he brought him some oil, some sandalwood oil. He's like, oh, just use this for your massage. And then Mahaprabhu's like, no, what, you want to make me a sense enjoyer? So then Jagannath took that pot of real expensive fancy oil and smashed it on the ground.
First he said, give it to Jagannath in the temple.
He's like, I'm going to give it to Jagannath. I'm going to give it to you.
Right. And then what did he do? Threw it on the floor. Broke it.
So some associates did have this mood towards Mahaprabhu, but not Gadadhara Pandit.
And so in the Chaitanya Charitamrita it says that
He's like Satyabhama.
he has love like
Satyabhama.
Satyabhama, Krishna's very feisty queen, who's most like Radharani of all the queens. So it says that his love is like that of Satyabhama, so that people think that he is an incarnation of Satyabhama in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. But that's not true. When Mahaprabhu told him, you're just like Satyabhama, because he's always fighting, and then, well, if you don't accept this from me, I'm fasting. So he fasted for 3 days. Mahaprabhu had to knock on his door. Come on, I'm hungry. Cook for me. So Gurudev said this is bogus. When people say that Gadadhara Pandit is Rukmini, Gurudev said this is bogus and so bogus. And the same thing with Satyabhama, because being Jagadananda Pandit, because in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that Loka, in this world, he's accepted as Satyabhama, but that doesn't mean he is. People think that he is. So there's a lot of deep things that we need pure devotees to understand the depth of that. Well, hey, what happened? There was a point where Lord Chaitanya decided to leave the world. Then what happened?
It was a very sad day. And we don't talk about that. Just
Please
kidding.
talk about it.
Okay. Let's all cry together. No, so then Gadadhara Pandit, he had this Tota Gopinath deity that the Lord gave him. It's a very beautiful deity. Sometimes even Nityananda Prabhu would come, and he gave so many mounds of rice, and they cooked and ate together as a whole other pastime.
And Lord Chaitanya came at the moment when
And
they
he
were ready
came,
to
and
leave.
they shared the plates, and the three of them ate together. There's a lot of sweet pastimes. Gadadhara Pandit was always with Mahaprabhu. But one day Mahaprabhu came to this Tota Gopinath, to this Gopinath deity. And he walked into the temple, but he never walked out. I know. See, we have one actual Bhav devotee here. Gadadhara Pandit saw him walk in, thinking, oh, he's going to go for darshan, that he'll come back out and we'll just read the Bhagavatam together, and we'll be in bliss and happiness like it's been day after day after day. But Mahaprabhu never came back out. And he's like, where'd he go? And so he went in and saw Mahaprabhu had disappeared. He had entered into the Gopinath deity. In fact, till this day, you'll see a mark on the thigh of Gopinath that shows Mahaprabhu entered there. And it was a very sad day. The whole world wept. It was a very sad day. In fact, Gadadhara Pandit, he was only 1 year younger than Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu left when he was 48 years old. So Gadadhara Pandit was 47. But
Slower.
Somewhere?
Slower.
Gadadhara.
I know
He's
you're
only
excited.
47. Yeah. And so, but on that day, he became so sad that his whole body went away. That his whole body became, you know, when you're sad, like there was one time, I was here in Hollywood, this is a mundane example, but this lady had just found out her son died. And her body immediately crumbled, like she just crumbled. And then and if you didn't even know what the conversation was, just by seeing the crumble of that woman, you knew she just received devastating news. And she couldn't get back up. She was hunched over, but she was super healthy walking up to the police officer. Then the officer said, oh, your son just died. So anyway, the point is, Gadadhara Pandit, he immediately, once Mahaprabhu disappeared, he found a complete separation. And so Srila Gurudev says that there's one speciality of this Gopinath deity. Can we talk about that real quick? Yeah. So after Mahaprabhu left and
That's
entered...
the main thing.
Yeah, I'm getting there. After they left, so then Gadadhara Pandit became so much in separation that it appeared that he became old, but he didn't actually become old because he was only 47 years old. That means I only have 7 years.
Shivadaraman Bihari Ji ki
Jai,
jai.
Shivadaraman Bihari Ji ki jai. But it appeared that he became old and frail because of his separation from his extreme attachment to Mahaprabhu. He became very frail and old. Not old, but weak. And he wasn't even able to stand upright. And so on that day...
Do you remember who he was compared with by Gurudev? Sudama's wife.
Oh, Vipra's wife?
Yeah. Why was he compared with Sudama Vipra's wife?
Sudama Vipra was a very poor Brahmin school friend of Krishna growing up. And he had a wife, but they didn't have much money or food, and she became emaciated and very frail as well. And
She looked old, but she was very young.
yeah,
Similarly,
also Devahuti was like that too. So similarly, Gadadhara Pandit became very frail and skinny, and he couldn't stand up properly. And so the Gopinath deity saw that Gadadhara Pandit had a hard time every day putting the garland on the deity. Like even when we garland our deities, we have to get up and get behind them and put the garland on. So you have to be able to stand upright. So they couldn't stand up for the deity. So then one morning, when Gadadhara Pandit woke up to go take care of Thakurji, Thakurji had went from standing to sitting like this. So he was standing, and then he sits with one leg crossed. And it's the only deity you'll ever see. Huh? No, I think it's one. Is it two legs?
I'm not sure. I thought it
I'm
was
pretty sure it's one.
both crossed. He's just going to check.
Check it. I was just there too, but the pundit wouldn't take away the cloth for me. I was like, I'll pay you, and he's like, one said yeah, and then one said no, and I was like, who do I slip the cash to? Is it two
What
legs?
does it show?
Okay, so he's
Two
sitting.
legs up, crossed.
So he's sitting like this, cross-legged now. And it's the only deity of Krishna you'll see where he's sitting cross-legged. And very easily then Gadadhara Pandit was able to garland Lord Gopinath. Huh? Yeah. So then only like 13 months later, then Gadadhara Pandit also left this world because of the separation. It's said that he only stayed around just to give mercy to Srinivasacharya. Then after Srinivasacharya came, then Gadadhara Pandit also gave up his pastimes here in this world. And then Gurudev also said there's another story, not a story, but there's another personality which was a disciple of Gadadhara Pandit who was also very elderly Brahmin.
84.
And that might be another reason why the Gopinath deity sat down. But we accept it because Gadadhara Pandit was not able to properly worship the deity. The deity sat down for him.
The other one was 84, and that's why Some people
That's
think
why
it
this
was
story
because
gets
of
mixed. He became old, but really he was 47 years old.
him. No, but I mean that other one that was the disciple
Yeah.
starts with an M. I forget his name just now.
Yeah. M.
But
Das.
why did Gurudev say? What did Gurudev say that proved that that couldn't be the reason?
Because is this the pastime where the gopis and Krishna sits down for them?
Yeah, he'll only sit down and stand up for Radhika.
I don't know
He's
that full
totally
pastime, so maybe you can tell it.
No, there's no pastime.
There's
just
no
Krishna.
pastime.
That always Krishna only sits down, stands up for Radhika.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be so controlled by anybody else.
If they say jump, he says how high. So he sits down only for the gopis. So he sat down
For
for
Radha.
Radha, for Gadadhar Pandit. Can we talk about what's on your little list there?
No, well, that goes back to the original reason why Krishna came, because he said, "Her love drives me mad." Just like you remember the example of the wind and the leaves.
No.
He said, "She is my prem guru. She makes me dance
Oh,
many novel dances, like the wind makes the leaves dance many novel dances." So that's connected with the fact that it had to have been Gadadhar Pandit who Krishna sat down for. So what deities are there with Gadadhar, with Tota Gopinath?
Radhika and Lalita.
Yeah, what's interesting about that?
What color are they? Black.
We have a scholarly group here.
Yeah, we do. This little corner right here. But why are they black? Why are they Sham? Tibatua? Why? Because what color is Srrmati Radhika? Gold. And top to Kanchana Gaurangi. And Lalita's also fair colored. So why are these two deities of Radhika and Lalita dark color, Sham color? There we go.
What?
Ding, ding. Because they are absorbed
Absorbed.
in Krishna. Just like Krishna sometimes, when he's absorbed in Radhika, he'll take on a golden complexion, like an Imritala. Like Radharaman Bihari. Radha Lingita, yeah. So in this way, the deities of Radha and Lalita are also fully absorbed in Krishna, that they also took on Krishna's dark complexion, and they are dark colored deities. Is there more to that story? I feel like there is a
Not
little.
to my knowledge.
There's like a piece, I can't think of it.
Except that there's an unhappy thing that's a perverted reflection in this world of what's happening with Krishna and Radhika, which is that Krishna is one, and then he becomes many. Ekala, Ishvara Krishna, he's the one controller of everything. What's the other one? Eko Bohusham.
Bahu.
Bohu, that one becomes many. He expands himself to marry 16,108 queens and live with them simultaneously in 16,108 palaces. Each one of them thought that he was henpecked. Then he expands into innumerable Vaikuntha planets, material planets. He expands into innumerable living entities in 8,400,000 species. And simultaneously, he doesn't leave his planet. He stays in one place and he expands himself everywhere. He even has one female incarnation named Mohini Murti, who came to cheat the demons and help the demigods. So Radhika, she, for whatever expansions Krishna has, male expansions, Purusha, she is the power behind that incarnation. So she becomes the queens. She becomes the goddesses of fortune, who are the power of Lord Vishnu. She becomes, not becomes, again, that's mortal language, because she never becomes something else. She's always Radhika, but you have to use language, and all we have is mortal language. Even though liberated personalities are speaking, because it's a mortal language and we have mortal senses, We never quite get it. But except by bhajan, by chanting and reading and hearing and praying, then gradually we become realized and we get it. So, so she has all these female counterparts of Krishna's incarnations. And then by her power, Krishna incarnates into all kinds of males and females in the 8,400,000 species of life. But this time, she assumed a male form as Gadadhar Pandit, who is non-different from Radhika. And then she also manifested as Gadadhar Pandit's manifestation as another male. Who's that? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is in Krishna Leela, Krishna's pastimes, who is who? Kamala Manjari, another teenage girl. So the sad thing is really sad. The sad thing that's happening these days, and unfortunately it's being encouraged and facilitated in certain schools, in certain school districts, which is, I forget what it's called, gender reassignment surgeries, where it's actually being encouraged in the schools that it's not a bad thing. You can chop off this limb and chop off that limb and change into a male or a female. And so there's so much suffering, and this is the perverted reflection. There has to be a perverted reflection. Like if the tree is by the water, by the river, then there's got to be a perverted reflection. And how is it perverted? The branches are down and the roots are up, and it's dirty water, and there's no substance, there's no fruits. There's fruits on the land, but there's no fruits in the water, there's no flowers, and you go for the substance and you get frustrated. So we want to help all those poor young personalities and give that Harinam Mahamantra, Harinam Sankirtan, the books, the art, the prasadam, and because they're never happy. In regular sense gratification, no one's ever happy, so they thought, well, maybe I'll just change genders and then I'll be happy. But no one is happy in the pursuit of sensual enjoyment. So we have a lot of responsibility. Yes, indeed. So.
There is a story in Bhagavatam.
What?
There is a Bhagavatam story about this.
What?
About Ela.
Oh, do you remember it?
Not really.
I don't really either.
But maybe we can print that out and give it to him.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
at
a
least we should first read it.
Yeah, we should read it
Then we
first.
can share it. For me, it was like 40 years ago when I read it.
Yeah, me too. 40-something years ago.
How old are you?
Yeah.
How old are you?
40. She was telling it to me when I was
Yeah, there was an
little.
amazing story about his mother. Before he was born, his mother got a Krishna book. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Got a Krishna book, but she wasn't really interested in reading it. So she put it, way up there where you'd have to climb on a ladder to get to that shelf. And so one day when he was about 19, he started thinking, because in his previous life he was a devotee, maybe in Japan.
Japan.
Anyway, so he asked his mother.
That's where my brother. My brother lives there now.
Is there a God? And what's he like if there is one? She said, oh, wait a minute. And then she climbed up on the ladder and got the Krishna book and brought it down and gave it to him. And the Krishna book, it just says Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But there are diacritic marks under the R, S, and N. He said, wow, 3 dots, cool. And he started reading it and became a devotee again in this life.
Yeah, so back to Gadahara
I was
Pandit.
sure grateful that he did.
Why do some devotees worship Gaurnitai and some devotees worship
Very good
Gaur
question.
Gadadhar? Yeah, I read your
Good.
mind.
Can you give the answer?
Go ahead.
Huh?
You're supposed to answer.
Can
There's a speciality to Gadadhar Pandit. Didi was just touching on about the internal potency. about she's the fountainhead of all energies, of not just all energies. See, energy itself is feminine. She's the fountainhead. She's like the pinnacle of the feminine energy. And the feminine energy is a lover of God. And so she is like the fountainhead of all those who love Krishna in what's known as Madhurya or Madhurya Ras. And this love of God where Krishna is not my son or my brother or my master or my friend. He is my beloved.
Which includes all the other rasas.
Which includes all the others. And so this is like Srrmati Radhika is, there's so many ways to describe it, but it doesn't always make sense. If you were to take the essence of everything and concentrate it down to just the supreme level of the love of God, you have like Srrmati Radhika. Mahabhav Swarup Shri Radha Thakurani. This is Srrmati Radhika. We can learn more about it as we progress. But so she is the master of all the internal devotees, the ones that love Krishna in the mood of Madhurya. And so some devotees who might not be attracted to this Madhurya Ras, they'll worship Gauranitai, and they'll achieve their perfection. But on the path, if some of us have this inclination, this tendency inside of our hearts to be in Madhurya Ras, that after some time, we'll always worship Gauranitai, but at some point, our mood will shift to Gadadhar, to Gaur Gadadhar.
What if we want to worship Gaur Nityananda in Madhur Ras?
Go for it. I dare you.
Well, how do I
Just
see
kidding.
Nityananda then?
No, because in the song, what's the song where it says where like worshiping Nitai will bring you to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. And where is Nitai situated in those pastimes? He is none other than Radhika's younger sister, Ananga Manjari. So Nitai is there. There's no harm in worshiping Gauranitai. I'm not trying to make anything here. But you'll see that some devotees are attracted to Gaur Gadadhar worship. And it's because they're entering into this Rag Marg Bhakti with the inclination towards Madhurya Ras.
Who else would they worship in Vaidhi Bhakti, or the path of opulence and rules and regulations? When Mahaprabhu is worshipped in the mood of Narayan,
Vishnu Priya.
Vishnu Priya and Lakshmi Priya.
Mm-hmm.
So he's worshipped with those.
Yeah, if you worship Mahaprabhu with Lakshmi Priya and Vishnu Priya, I mean, this is kind of...
Gets high.
Yeah. Let's keep it simple here. But
that was for those who are...
For those that caught that.
You said it's high, but you also said that's for Vaidhi Marg.
Yeah, in Vaidhi Bhakti, but all these details are just way out there.
Pretty much, because no one here is worshiping Mahaprabhu with Vishnu Priya and unless you go to, where is this? Yoga Pit, you'll see Mahaprabhu there with his wives. But we're not trying to say that that's Vaidhi Bhakti.
Are there any questions?
We're not trying to say anything. Yeah, your mic is falling down. People can't.
Is there any urgent question?
Who should you worship in the mood of like fear, like going to hell?
When Nrsimha is right there. He'll protect you. If you have the fear of going to hell, that's natural. We all do. That's how we start. We're like, oh man, if I keep doing like this, I'm going to go to hell. You just know it too. If you're an atheist and someone says you're going to go to hell, and you're like, no, I'm not. Wait a second. Like, even if you don't believe in God, you still feel like if I do wrong, I'm going to be punished. Like, whether it's just the universe, you'll feel it. And if we have this fear, then naturally our intelligence will kick in, and it's like we need to use proper discrimination now. We need to figure out what not to do. And eventually we will come to God. And the more we ask questions and the more we seek, we will find, we will come and we'll eventually arrive at the lotus feet of Krishna. And in the beginning, he'll say, do like this, don't do like this. And we'll just follow the rules. And that's how our love will be protected, by following the rules and regulations. But as we progress, and it's like, I'm not going anywhere, I am situated at Krishna's feet, eventually we want to taste those feet. We want to experience Krishna in a certain mood, a certain way. And then our mood will increase, and we'll enter into what's known as Rag Bhakti. But it'll come with association and with, most important, greed. What are we talking about now?
Do any new guests have any questions?
Jayapad? You're pretty new.
Any guess? Have any questions? Okay.
What are we doing here? What is this place? Why is there?
They've all been here at least 3 or 4 times.
I still don't understand why we're here. What is the nature of reality? Why am I in this body?
Atato Brahma Jigyasu.
Yeah.
Now that you've come through the 8,400,000 species of life to this human form, now it's time to inquire. Who am I? What is God?
One inquiry and another inquiry.
All right, good.
So one of the inquiries that I had was regarding one of the pastimes you guys were mentioning.
Loud?
Yeah, about one of the Vaishnav saints that was like a materialist, but he wasn't. So it's like curious to me to like balancing like renunciate life versus like being in the material world. So like I know that there's like 4 ashrams. It's like Grihastha and Brahmachari, and then I don't know the other 2. But like for myself, like navigating family life and like life coming before livelihood, I guess. I was just trying to ask and see like what is I guess like how do you know what's the best course of action for you? You know, like renunciate life or Grihastha life, or you know, that's kind of my question.
Radhi Shampru had this question once about the pravritti and the nirvritti marg. But in the stages of bhakti, we'll come to this fork in the road. It's this we'll be like, I don't know what I should do. Should I be renounced or should I get married? I know if I'm renounced, it's the easy life, but I'll be alone and might be a little bit sad at times. And if I get married, I'll have a companion, but oh man, I got to work and I got to suffer. Because no one's ever said marriage is easy. So it's like, oh man. But when I think about being like a renunciate, I don't think I could just go through life without enjoying. So better I get married. And maybe I want to have kids, and that'll be my service. So we're going to have this back and forth. All of us will go through it. And eventually, your karma will come out the way it's supposed to come out. So if you're going to be married, you can try real hard not to, but without the blessings of the spiritual master, it's hard to fight off the impulses of Maya. Maya will come and attack. And so if we do take to this grihastha life, to this like, oh, okay, I'm going to be a devotee, but I'm going to live in the material world, and I'll have my regulated sense enjoyment. I'll do things in regulation to the best that I can. And sometimes I'll fall down, and I'll do nonsense. But I'll never give up being Krishna's devotee. In fact, there's a verse in the 11th canto that says, even my devotee, being disgusted with material sense enjoyment, but still unable to give it up, should remain happy and continue on this path. Because sometimes we're like, oh, I want to be a good devotee, but I keep doing these bad things, and I keep going back to this nonsense. I should just stop chanting. I shouldn't go to the temple. They all know that. They all see me. They know I'm a sinner. They can smell it on me, you know? No, Krishna says, no, keep going. Don't stop. This is the process. You're cleaning yourself. It's a cleaning. No need for atonement?
No need for mundane atonement.
Oh, right.
Because it doesn't work.
It's not a business transaction. Like, okay, Krishna, if I chant 5 rounds a day, you're going to forgive me for what I just did. No,
that's not the type of atonement he meant. He meant no mundane atonement.
What's a mundane atonement look like?
It's like if you do something bad and then you atone for it by doing some austerity, that might doing some pious activity to make up for it. Then that might make up for the evil thing that you did.
Right.
But it doesn't take away the desire to do it again. That's the problem.
Wet stool, dry stool. Either one is stool. Okay? The important thing is I just want to develop my love for Krishna. I don't know how to even do it, so I'll approach a spiritual master. They'll give me instructions, and I'll try my best to follow them. I'll even make vows, and then I'll break my vows. It's true. These are the stages of unsteady bhakti. We will all pass through them. We'll be like, should I get married or not married? Okay, I'm going to get married, but I'm going to be completely regulated, and I'll follow this very strictly. And then we start enjoying our senses.
I'm going to chant 64 rounds.
I'm going to chant 64 rounds.
Tomorrow I'll start.
Tomorrow. And you do it, but then the next day you're like, wow, I'm really tired. All right, I'm not going to chant today. So we are going to be unable to uphold our vows. We're going to struggle with our senses. It's like the path of bhakti is very simple, but it's not easy.
Is it like a razor's edge?
It's like a razor's edge.
Why?
I don't know why. Why is it like a razor's edge?
Because you're shaving very nicely, but by any negligence,
You'll cut yourself.
cut and blood.
That's what I got right
We're
here.
so
guys.
careful. So we want to be careful.
So anyways, we're going to try your best to be in whatever situation
And associate.
you have found
Very
yourself
important.
in. Gurudev would say, if you're brahmachari, be brahmachari. If you're grihasta, be grihasta. Whatever situation you find yourself in, do it the best you can. Krishna's not worried about how well you do your material duties. He even says, Sarva dharma prityaja mamikam shanam braja. Whatever your duties are, just don't worry. Give them up. Just surrender to me. It's more important. There's only one rule and one prohibition. All the others are servants of this. And that is always remember Krishna and never forget him. This isn't a get out of jail free card, but when we're struggling, we should just know like, oh Krishna, as long as I maintain my relationship with you, I'm going to make progress. It's going to happen. And just the fact that you've come to this process, you are going to be liberated very, very soon. I mean, what's 100 lifetimes? What's 1,000? There's a whole pastime of another Mukunda. Anyways, so just try your best. Keep on going. Keep on endeavoring. You have to work a job to live in this world, so work your job. But don't be attached to the fruits of this world. Don't be attached to the world. You might even see yourself enjoying this world, but just don't be attached to it. In fact, the more you progress spiritually, spiritual knowledge will act like a knife, and it'll cut this attachment to these things. You'll find yourself doing it, and you won't be that attached. Also, old age kind of happens naturally too. The things that we used to do for fun when we were young, now we're like, I don't really care anymore. So like, just keep going on with your bhakti. That's the most important thing. And if you're a grihasta, then be grihasta. If you need to work in the world, work in the world. If you find that it's consuming you, come to the temple, which is like a hospital. Offer pranams to the Lord. Krishna says, like, man mana bhava mad bhakto, mam yaji mam namaskuru. If you can't be a full-time devotee, just come to the temple and offer your obeisances to me. Just do that. Just be like, I need prasad today. Jai. But just...
And Prabhupada said if you're finding yourself engaged in sense gratification, just thinking, oh, I'm so weak, Krishna save me, then that he will help us out.
Yeah. Help is coming.
And power.
Yeah. One time
He has
Gurudev
power in his words.
One time Gurudev and some devotees were joking. They were talking about some devotees are going to Disney World. And the Gurudev's like, oh, you're going to enjoy. Like, no, Gurudev, it's for the children. It's for the children. He's like, no, you're going to go have fun. No, Gurudev, it's for the children, please. And everyone's laughing like how we are now. And then Gurudev got super heavy. He goes, you should know that I am millions and millions of years old. And I have done and seen everything. Now it is time for bhajan. And like, if I say it, you're like, okay, Gora. But when Gurudev said it, all of us, it was like an explosion in our minds and hearts. At that moment, we all had Atma Tattva realization. Like, wow, we are millions and millions. We have done everything. What are we doing in this life we haven't done in another life? Same things. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending.
And then you had to die and be born again and
I get to the
have
point where I can make
insects bite you in the womb.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this, yes?
Yeah, I have a question regarding to reincarnation. Here's the thing. Krishna is the supreme Lord. He's the source of all incarnation. I know he's an immortal being. However, I just couldn't understand how can the living entity as a moral being can reincarnate to next life, because they have to die in this life. According to my personal experience, I have been exposed to death for many times, and when people are about to die, their happiness has been sucked away, and I can sense their soul are immersed into that moral
answer it in 2 minutes, because then we have to have kirtan.
So I wonder
I was
how
telling him.
mortal can overcome death to reincarnate to next life. So that's my question.
That's a good question. You see, in fact, we all have to die in order to live. Because when we say you're immortal, that is who you are eternally is immortal. But right now we're covered by a temporary identity. That identity will always die. At the end of this life, Jai Shri Srrmati Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, I know all my previous lives, but you, Arjuna, you do not. Because in each time we are born again, we get a new identity. And when we die, that identity is destroyed. So if we think that we are the false identity, we are going to die. Like that will be gone forever. That the false identity does not live on to the next life, but who you are underneath of that will live on. Just like Prabhupada would say, like right now we have already transmigrated even in this life.
You close it because we have to have kirtan. It's already
Okay. I had a good question though. But yeah, okay. So in this life, we've already have transmigrated from childhood to youth to middle age to old age, but we're the same person. But if I were to talk to my younger self, I wouldn't even be able to like identify with who I was, because we're not the same person anymore, but we are the same person. So who you are in this life won't go into the next life. That will be destroyed. But your soul, which is immortal, will go into the next life. And subtle impressions will be carried on to the next life. So you, like me, Gaura Krishna, will not be born Gaura Krishna again. I, the soul occupying this body, will take on a new body and have a new identity. And I'll be so-and-so. But the I-ness of me will live on. And the goal of life is to realize, what is that I-ness? Who am I underneath the layers of ego and mind, intelligence, body, all these layers? We want to peel back and see who the true I is. What is my real identity? And we'll find out that Jivera Swarupahoy Krishnara Nityadas.
means if you do Sri Krishna Sankirtan like we're going to do now.
Right. So Didi is saying that if the best way to understand who you are, because it can be a head trip, thousands and thousands and millions of people are trying to answer this question. But Lord Chaitanya came with Gadadhar Pandit, and they said, this is how you can easily peel back all those layers. Chaito Darpana Marjanam. You'll be able to clean your heart and realize who you are through the power of Sri Krishna Sankirtanam.
And so,
Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So sorry we couldn't answer your question fully, but you just meet us afterwards and ask more questions.
you
We
can
gotta
ask
wrap
him
up,
any questions.
and you can ask her everything. And now we'll chant Krishna's name, and we'll think about the loving relationship between Mahaprabhu and Gadadhar Pandit, and we'll beg for their love and mercy. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Syamarani Didi Ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Gadai Gaur, Gauranga. Gadai Gaur, Oh, Gadai Gaur, Gauranga. 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 Oh, Gadai Gaur, Gaurango. Gadai Gaur, Gauranga. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Oh, Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Gurudev. Oh Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Oh Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Oh Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Oh Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Oh Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Oh Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Everybody, hands up, please. All together now. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Oh Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura 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 Gadai Gaura Premanande. Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ji ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Raman Bihari Ji ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Govind Gopinath Maran Mohan Ji ki Jai Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Man Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Jai Om Vishnu Pada Stotra Sat Her Divine Grace Srimati Syamarani Didi ki Jai Jai Nitila Pravishta Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Jai Nitila Pravishta Shri Srimad Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Jai Nitila Pravishta Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Jai Nitila Pravishta Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swai Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Jai Nitila Pravishta Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshva Gosai Maharaj ki Jai Jai Nitila Pravishta Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki Jai Swapadikar Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Mahabhagavat Srila Gorkishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Shri Saptam Goswami Shri Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai Shri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Shri Gauri Arupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Deva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sargoswami Prabhu ki Jai Shri Namacharya Saras Thakur ki Jai Sri Damodar Nandari Shri Gaura Parshad Vrinda ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sharvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Gadadhar Pandit Avirbhav Maha Mahotsava ki Jai Maha Mahotsava ki Jai Maha Mahotsava ki Jai Shri Antardeep Mayapur Samantadweep Shri Navadweep Dham ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Go Govardhan Dwara Savanamak Shri Brajmanala Dham ki Jai Shri Nam Sankirtana ki Jai Tribhuvana Mangala Shri Hare Krishna Maha Mantra ki Jai Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Sambeda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Jai Shri Srimad Bhakti Ranjan
Sagar Gosai Maharaj ki jai, Shri Avirbhav Mahamotsav ki jai, Sambheda Gauda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gauda Premanande Hari Hari Wo. Om Vrindavi Tulasi Devai Priyavi Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Pade Devi Satyavatai Namo Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Prasada ki jai.
Mahaprasare Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvaso Navajayate Sharira Avijajan